What up, everybody? I'm your host, JP, and this is my co host, Josh.
Hey everybody.
And welcome back to another episode of the Film Bros podcast. So, yeah, Josh, here we are, okay, with another movie review. We're going to be talking about one of the new releases, something that just literally came out. We did this last year, too, or not last year, in 2023 when the first one came out.
Right.
It was a great time. I went with you, and I walked away not having some very good thoughts about the film. And we have our review out that's out right now that you guys can totally go check out. You guys will know which one to go check out as soon as Josh gives you the title of the one that we're doing right now, or if you guys read it, obviously in the description. But this one, I listened to you when you first, because you went by yourself and you went before me.
Yeah.
And, I gotta say, they listened a little bit. They listened a little bit to some of the criticisms that we actually talked about on our own episodes. So, like I said, if you guys want to go check that out, Josh, let them know what we're going to be reviewing today so we can jump right in, start breaking down exactly the improvements, the decreases. It sounds like to me that you're not too big of a fan of this one, but we'll dive into all that right now. Go ahead.
We are reviewing Five Nights at Freddy's 2, 2025.
So you wanna tell me about your bad dreams?
It's always the same.
Your dad. We're never gonna be able to move forward until you deal with some of the mess you left in your head.
My father was a monster. You know that.
Everyone called it an accident, but it wasn't until years later when those 5 children went missing that I knew she was murdered by him.
Yes, so FNAF 2, right? I'm hip.
Right.
I know what you guys like to hear. FNAF, yeah.
Okay.
We're getting fanatic in here, right? We're gonna be FNAF fanatics, right? No.
Right. You need to stop, but yeah. No.
You know how like there's always like a group, right? There's always like the what is it? Like I watched the streamer, the Burnt Peanut, and he has the
Right.
bungalows or whatever, the mongoloids or whatever the fuck they're
Yeah,
called.
yeah.
What do they call the FNAF fans? Is there a name for you guys?
I think you probably had it. I think like FNAF addicts or whatever, something like that. I don't know what they are called really, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
that sounded accurate. I don't know.
I came off the top of the dome ski. So if y'all
I'm
want
not.
if y'all want to have that one, make sure
Yeah.
you let them know I pioneered it. Let them know. Let them know I was in there. I got to be honest. I mean, I did go watch it on a Monday, but that my theater was empty. There was only like 3 other people that showed up, which is crazy. It's crazy because let's be honest. The first one was packed. When we went to go watch it, it was super packed. It was crazy because FNAF came out same day, same date release as like a lot of movies were coming out like in the 2020s, right? I think it lasted that way all the way till like early 2023, and they decided to do it with FNAF, the first one. It came out on Peacock the same day it came out in theaters, and it still did amazing, right? And during a week where like a lot of talk is going on, where like like we talked in our episode over the weekend, but like Warner Brothers getting bought out by Netflix, and then potentially not getting any theatrical releases. This movie right here tells you why theatrical releases are important, because
Right.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is breaking a whole bunch of records. I didn't even think that they was gonna do that, but now that it's not on Peacock, I'm pretty sure a lot more people are going out there to go watch it. So let's talk about a couple of the records it broke. It raked in globally 110 million, 110.5 million, excuse me. 64 million came from domestic, which did not do as much as the first one, because the first one did make 80 million on its opening weekend, but it did do 64, which ain't bad. And then abroad, basically 46.5 million. A lot of people liked it. So some of the records that basically were broken was biggest opening ever for the 49th weekend of the year. Don't know what that means, but it broke that record.
Crazy.
Biggest number one weekend for a movie during post Thanksgiving weekend, breaking last year's record of set by Moana 2 with a 51.2 million dollar bill sign. Biggest weekend ever in the post-Thanksgiving period for all titles, which I'm assuming in December, because December is usually like the time where nobody goes to watch it.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. All this shit's probably gonna get broken by Avatar, Fire and Ash. But we'll give FNAF its flowers for right now. We'll try not to deter too much that way, even though the whole beginning of before the movie, it was just all Avatar, Fire and Ash, Avatar, Fire and Ash,
Yeah.
everything. Biggest December horror opening. That's not bad. It beat 1997 Scream 2, which is crazy because Skeet Ulrich is basically in the first one and not really in the second one. I don't know why I compared it. Anyways, biggest December opening for Universal Studios. Biggest opening for a PG-13 horror film in 2025, surpassing Predator Badlands. Second largest horror opening of 2025. Third biggest opening for a PG-13 horror movie, basically beating out Five Nights at Freddy's, which opened at 80 million. Internationally, in Mexico, it made 6.9 million. It's both the second biggest Universal horror opening of all time, and the second biggest of Blumhouse, which was basically beating out the first Five Nights at Freddy's. UK and Ireland, 4.4 million. Universal's biggest horror opening of all time, and so on and so forth. It broke Brazil's record, broke Australia's record, and broke Spain's record for the biggest horror opening of all time. So a lot of people really did check in for this movie. The first one basically set that precedent, and this one capitalized on it. I don't want to say it upped the score from the first one, but it did capitalize a lot on it. Like I said, all this talk about theatrical releases not being the wave anymore is deaded by this by FNAF. That conversation is deaded because everybody likes going to the movies. People like to fan out and freak out with a lot of people that are into the same freaky shit that they are, right?
Mm-hmm. I would say that's the thing. The camaraderie. There you go. That's the way to put it.
Was
like
your
sitting around there
when you went, or?
Mine was, yeah. We went, dude, it was so bad. We didn't even go to the one that we go to. We ended up going to the AMC theater.
Oh, you
for
didn't
the
go
pre-show.
to Edwards. Oh, the Edwards was already booked?
Yeah, all sold out. Maya sold out. Like the AMC was the only one where it was like we found like good
tickets. You guys were able to
for.
squeeze in there? You're like, let me just scooch on in there.
Yeah, but even our theater was still kind of packed. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there was nobody. Like I said, I watched it on a Monday, so basically everybody didn't watch it. My kids were like, "Oh, nobody's here. Dang. No other parents wanted to bring them." Blah blah blah. I was just like, yeah. That's why. It's not like it's a Monday or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so FNAF did break records, but one record that it could not beat was its Rotten Tomato score from the first one. So the first one came in at a 33% with an 86% on the popcorn meter. Five Nights at Freddy 2's slashed that in half, no pun intended, 15% on the tomato meter. And it went up one on the popcorn meter at an 87%. Do we agree? Do you disagree?
I agree. I think the critics might be on the money with this one, and yeah, the same way. If the popcorn meter makes sense, like if you're rocking with the first one, you're rocking with this one. If you're a fan, you're a fan. You like it. If you're not, and I'm probably gonna end up tearing into it a little bit because the facts and what I like are two different things. So I'm with the critics.
Please don't tear into Fazbear's ass that much, please. Don't do that.
Oh my gosh.
Don't do that. The point is that there's no people in those animatronics. Okay, that's the point. But yeah, like I said, it did do a little bit worse with the critics on this one, but it seems like the diehard fans really walked out enjoying it for the most part, right? We have the returning crew. I don't think the same director. I believe the director of the first one. Oh, it is. She directed the first one. She came back for the second one. I appreciate it. Emma Tammy comes back to direct her sequel to the smash hit that was Five Nights at Freddy's. It was really good. Josh Hutcherson came back as Mike. Piper Rubio as Abby. Elizabeth Leo as Vanessa. Freddy, you're supposed to be on lockdown. Shut up, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Matthew Lillard as William Afton. Freddie Carter as Michael, which we'll try to keep the spoilers out of this. Wayne Knight as Mr. Berg. It was nice to see the guy from Jurassic Park, the one that got done in by a bunch of tiny dinosaurs that get spit on, basically be an asshole again and get done in it once again. McKenna Grace as Lisa, and so on and so forth. Everybody else was basically background characters. The main characters had to be the few that I did speak on right now. Josh, before you start getting into the movie breakdown and everything like that, like I said, you were a fan of the first one, right? How did you feel walking into the second one, dude? Come on, I gotta know.
I was hoping it'd be a better experience. I was like, you know what? I enjoyed the first one to a certain extent. You know, the kills were kind of cool. I had high hopes for this one. You know, just to elevate it. The way the animatronics looked cool. Like even this picture right here, like all the animatronics did look really good, polished, whatever. But holy damn, was I let down by everything that soon followed in the movie.
Let down. Spoilers for the review. Oh my god, he was let down. That's not a good sign. So, especially because you did speak, I remember you speaking pretty much.
I really
liked
liked the first one,
right? One person I did want to know, shout out to your homie John. Did he watch the second one yet?
Yeah, he watched it. Yeah.
Did he enjoy it? I know we talked about him on the first one too, so I gotta know.
Same thing. Yeah, I think he was like like dog shit movie, but I like it because I'm a fan. Like that's the consensus, I think.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Me walking into it, I mean, like I said, the first one didn't really wow me. I wasn't having high expectations with this one. Walked out kind of happy that they took into consideration some of the people's criticisms. Obviously, I think a few of them were like the kills and all that stuff, which I can agree is a kids movie. So I mean, like I said, I walked in not too worried about what the outcome was going to be, if that makes sense. I thought I was going to be ready to tear into this one, but I might be the one rescuing it from you just a little bit. Okay. But we'll find out right now. Spoilers up ahead. We're going to be talking about it. We'll try to avoid the major spoilers because this is a still fairly new movie. So we'll try to, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Come back to the review. But if not, listen up. We're about to get into it. Josh, let us know what kind of happens in this movie so we can start the breakdown.
Okay, this movie follows Mike and Abby, and Vanessa, who takes place at about 6 months after the events of the first one. I think the timeline says. Before that, though, we get a good look at the puppet, how that becomes to be, and then it cuts to them, Josh Hutcherson and them, trying to live life now that that they've lived the events of the first one. Vanessa's trying to get a grip on what her dad did as Springtrap. That's not a huge spoiler. That was in the first one. Josh Hutcherson's trying to move on with his life and potentially be an love interest to Vanessa, who's, again, still dealing with her dad and stuff, hiding secrets and whatnot. Abby she misses her friends. She misses the animatronics. She misses the original crew from the first one. She eventually gets caught up in what happens in this film, which leads all of them down the same rabbit hole of revisiting the first location, the Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria, whatever, because they specifically say that this is the first one, and the one from the first movie was a spin-off location. So they get entangled in the Marionette's whole trap, who's her whole beef is to get revenge on the parents that let her perish the way she did in the beginning. That leads to some more lore and sets up a sequel. So that trims it up without a huge spoiler, I would say.
I see that. Yep. Okay. First things first, I guess we'll talk about the characters. Obviously, we have a lot of returning characters. What'd you think about, Mike, Vanessa? I would, I don't want to spoil it too much, but I mean, there wasn't a lot of Matthew Lillard, so I was kind of disappointed with that. So yeah, that's just basically it. But I mean, what do you think about the characters, man?
I kind of felt the same way. Like, I mean, I told you, like, we know Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard were hyped up for this movie. They were like, "Oh, it's a reunion, yeah." But, like, they rarely get enough screen time. I like seeing them, but that's their capacity in the film wasn't too big, like you said. Other than that, I liked everybody. I think Josh Hutcherson, Vanessa and Abby, like our the whole leads, great, phenomenal. I love the characters. I kind of love what they had going on in the plot. I thought it was good. I don't mind them. I think I had some problems with the kid actor, like the first girl that we see as the puppet.
Hmm.
I think she had some crazy ass like vibes in the beginning. I was like, this is bad acting right here, but
Hmm.
it can't be too harsh. I'm sure this is like her first role. They probably didn't give her too much direction, so I can't be too mad. But I did like our leads for the most part. Everybody else came and went. You know what I mean? Like if they were there to perish, they perished, and we moved on. Other than that, I
Yeah.
was vibing with just about everybody that showed up.
I think that's the only thing I didn't like about the characters. You knew which ones you were gonna rock with because they had a lot of speaking lines and they were able to like give you a lot of it. But everybody else, they were just passing through the film basically. I will say McKenna Grace, she's the person that you were talking about. I don't think it's her first role. I've seen her in a few other things, but she is. I think she was. I thought she was pretty much the standout for the little bit that she had. I really liked her portrayal of when she was possessed and all that stuff, and I really enjoyed seeing her on screen a lot. Josh Hutcherson, I mean, I like that he's in the movie. I just don't feel like he's in it 100%. I feel like this is kind of like I don't want to say it's like a passion project to him because I feel like if it's a passion project, you're going to give it your all. But I do think that this is kind of like his fun time to basically just, be there, cash his check, and then basically, keep the movie going, if that makes sense. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do
yeah.
I do enjoy seeing him. Piper, who played Abby, I liked her as well. I mean, I think that I don't see her. I haven't seen her. I think she's fairly new too. We seen her in the first part. She didn't get a lot of like speaking role or anything. She was just basically the kid that was being tricked in the first one. This one
Yeah.
they gave her more of a front and center stage where like Josh Hutcherson was like, oh, or Mike, Josh Hutcherson's character was like, oh, she's going through stuff. She was just like, no, I'm having fun with all this shit basically. So I really
Yeah, yeah,
enjoyed
yeah.
that part or that aspect of it. Everybody did pretty good. I think somebody that if I do watch this movie again, that I could look forward to was Freddie Carter's Michael. I think
Right.
the way that I saw Jack Nicholson's son in like what movie was it? Well, Smile 2, and they basically just used them for like a second and then threw them to the side. I feel like that's what they did with Freddie Carter and his character. I feel like he could do crazy stuff in a horror movie. I think if they give him like an actual role where he has to be like that scary being,
Yeah, no,
100%.
I think that's the thing because this comes into like knowing what these characters become from the games and stuff. I'm sure we'll see more of him. I think I was telling CJ this too. Like Matthew Lillard signing on and being Springtrap and stuff. He's playing the long game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All these guys are playing the long game because half these characters don't show up until the third or fourth game. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
okay.
they're being built up now. As movies kind of do. So they're playing long game. So I have no doubt that we're gonna see him again because I thought he did pretty good too.
Yeah, I will see his full potential kind of unlocked later on. I'm kind of down with that. I'm kind of down.
Yeah.
If the first one didn't keep me interested, I think this second one kind of did because of the lore and everything that they were kind of putting behind it. But yeah, we'll talk about it as a film right now. So let's go ahead and talk about. Uh, let's talk about the world building. We'll talk about the lore and all that stuff because I think that's like I think you're right. I think that's like the
That's the
better
juicy
part.
stuff.
Yeah, like knowing the backstory of how like these animatronics basically came to be was like the good part of like the first part. This is what's kind of that's what's kind of doing it for me with this one, and I appreciate them actually taking the time to go through these video games. I don't know, like it's kind of like the Super Mario movie. and how they're going straight to Galaxy. I don't know, how they jump from that game to this one. So I don't know what they're pulling from, Five Nights at Freddy's 4 or whatever, and putting it in here to basically build up these characters. I do enjoy that aspect of the world building, letting us know how they basically came to be. I mean, it was still kind of a self-contained movie within, even though they were like, oh, they're going to break free and go outside, it still felt like it was crammed up for the lore part, right?
Yeah. A lot of it ties into what the sorry, we're like right by the airport, so we still get planes and shit, but 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think a lot of it plays into the lore of it all. So like, yeah, we got cool looking animatronics and stuff, but you're probably right. Like that we're still stuck in like the little town that we're in, even if we step outside of the fucking pizzeria, which is crazy because I mean, slight spoiler, but we don't get the game room scene from like we don't see the actual set from the second game until we get close to the end, and in which case it's like holy damn, there's no point at this point. But other than that, I mean, not too bad, not too bad, not too bad.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's not much you could say because it is the lore part, right? That's where you're
Yeah,
basically saying. I think it kind of shined to that part too. So I mean, the world building apart was pretty decent. So I got to give
I
it
would
that.
say.
Um,
And like it sets up sequels and stuff, so I think it does it what's intended to. If we're talking strictly for the movie, like you can tell, like they have plans beyond plans, but for this one, it's like we step out of the pizzeria, we're still stuck in town. You know what I mean?
we're stuck in
We're not
town,
going.
and well, we're stuck in town, and then I gotta be honest, the a part of me feels like half these town folks deserve what's happening. They're so stupid. I don't
Yeah,
understand. There's so much like dumb stuff, and this is kind of gonna lead it to the plot and everything like that, because the plot was pushed by stupidity. Basically, the plot was. This is where it's gonna kind of get into like that movie territory, like how you said, like as a movie, it kind of falls a little flat because it's like everything that basically happens has to be with like either somebody is so stupid that they don't hear kids cry and they want to do something about it, and then I don't think it's as dumb as like a sneaker rapper unloading dinosaurs, but like
damn.
I gotta be honest,
Drive by.
like there has to be more to just being like, oh, Skeet Ulrich, he's gonna be in this movie just to push the plot forward. Oh, we gotta make sure that she's hopeless for like about a second, and then somebody's gonna pull up to save her. There's just so much stuff where like this plot was basically propelled by like a bunch of contrived.
Yeah, everything was just convenient. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, big piece of the ending when he's like, "Oh no, I don't know if we can do it. I don't know if we got it," and then they get it. It's just like really,
Like,
like I
oh,
thought
my
this
car
place
broke
was.
down. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get out of here. You get out of
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It's like that's the thing. It's such like an outdated thing. Like they want to try and keep it old, but they also want to try and be like, oh, like in the future it's modernized, but it's like, are they all connected to the same Wi-Fi? Like, what are we talking about?
We still have what is it? Phones that hang on a wall. We still got walkie talkies. You know what I mean? Like, where are the cell phones? Like, we know we have cell phones in this universe, right? Or I guess not. I mean,
It's just crazy. Yeah, no, I like that's the thing too. I mean, a little bit of the consistency of that stuff where it's like we have phones, but we it's easier if we just stay walkie-talkies. It's I don't know. A lot of it is convenient though. I do think like the van scene too with Mangled, like it's all just too convenient. There's not real much stakes, and like you said, like if you weren't a main character or someone they were pushing for potentially a sequel, they bit the dust.
yeah,
They just bit the
what is it?
dust.
What's that saying? You knew they were a red shirt from a mile away, basically. Like
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
that they're entering the scene to basically be slaughtered. Basically.
Yeah,
So plot wise, I gotta say, just
weak.
falls
It was
flat.
so weak. I think Josh Hutcherson should have manned up and been like, "Hey, man, those people are dead. No, we got to move forward." You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Is it like I can't even say and joke that it's like not meant to be realistic, but you're trying to turn the game into a movie. There has to be some reasoning behind it. That's the thing. I don't know.
I think a lot of the stuff has to do with keeping it kid friendly. I think a lot of the stuff, because me taking my kids to the movie, they were very much entertained by everything that was happening. But me sitting there, I'm just like, wow, they really just bypassed it just so they can get the movie going. I'm just like,
I think the scariest thing were the puppet jump scares. I think every time they did that, I was like, oh, okay, that's creative. Like that's pretty good stuff. I didn't have a problem with the way that she was moving around up until like the ending when she was just kind of flying or all over the place.
yeah,
But other than that, like I enjoyed seeing the puppet and stuff. Like that speaks to like the animatronics too. Amazing stuff. Like I told you, Mangled being like a mixture of CG and like be obviously puppeteering, really cool stuff. I just wish they did more. Like there's no reason for them to be stuck outside the house moving like puppets, you know what I mean? Like they got to be able to move more, and I hope like as we move forward we actually get something like that because Springtrap, he has to move. He moves, he walks, he does like everything, you know what I mean?
yeah.
He moves like a man in a suit.
He
So
is
there's
the man
no
in the
reason
suit.
for him to be like robot, you know what I mean? Like that's the difference.
Yeah, yeah. Um, same thing. I mean, there is a few other instances like apparently every other robot shuts down except for Chica itself. You know what I mean? In order to keep the story going or whatever. Yeah, that's just a lot of things were just not. I guess you could say it was set up by the movie, even like down to Skeet Ulrich being in there. But it's like, okay, he was just in there for that. We didn't even. Where was he during the party? Like
Right.
he dropped his kid off and walked away. Is that what basically happened? Like where was where? Why was all the plot pushed by either somebody doing something stupid or, you put in that little, you put in one person just to basically keep the movie going a little bit further. It's like nah, I don't know. I just got
Weird.
I couldn't,
Weird.
yeah. It didn't feel like there was like other things. Like if this didn't happen, would they have lost? It is basically the question, right? If that didn't
Yeah.
happen, would they have lost? It would have just been like that. No fight scenes in this one too much, but there was a lot of jump scares and scariness. And one thing that we did complain about in the first one was that there was not enough scary scenes and there was not enough kills. I feel like they listened to us because there was a couple of scenes where the puppet, it did get me. I'm not gonna lie, there was even though it was just extremely loud, like the audio mixer was just like, look, this ain't gonna do it.
That's how it is. That's how it is in the game. When the puppet jumps out, it does that whole screech. Like that was like, yeah, that's part of the game.
That's part of it. Okay, so yeah, so I
Yeah.
mean, they did listen to us on that part. Obviously, like I said, I just think that they're not gonna go full on letting you watch the gruesomeness because kids movie, right? They still want kids to come in and watch it and not be too freaked out. But for the most part, I do enjoy the little. It was better than the first one, where like she gets bit in half off screen, and I think
Yeah.
that was the most violent one that we got. Everything else was basically off screen. You didn't really see it too much. This one, you actually saw people getting torn apart from like a different angle. So
Yeah. I feel that. I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel like we lagged a little bit. Like we got a few decent kills, but I was still very much like I would have preferred to have seen that pop. You know what I mean? Like that's the way I feel about it. But like even when that crew gets done in, I was just like, I guess, man. I guess if we're just cutting away from shit and not showing enough, like that's where we're dumb. You're right. Everybody's so dumb. The cameraman gets in the water and then just never thinks to climb out.
no,
Like
no. Why would he do that?
everybody's dumb.
Why would he do
Everybody's dumb. Everybody's dumb.
The dude basically shows you that he's the villain, and you're just like gonna follow him and not run away. It's like, why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. Like I said, it's just a lot of stuff that was basically pushed forward by dumb shit. And people, the way they died, it wasn't even like creative in a way, because everybody, like, come on, dude, the teacher crawling under the table is like with his legs sticking out. Oh my god. Oh my god,
So
when that
dumb.
happened, I was
So
like, you're
dumb.
an idiot. Like, Jesus. Like, everybody in this town is stupid. I don't understand why they're so dumb, or why they made to be so dumb. But I do think they improved on a couple of things, but just not as much as you would basically hope for, right?
Yeah.
Last but not least, I saved this one for last because I wanted to kind of tear into this one. The cinematography. Now, we've seen movies with PG-13 ratings kind of give you, good, a little bit decent looks at the kills, and you did get a little bit more camera work from different things, but this one was just like they refused. They edited the car scene. Dude, I got whiplash watching that car scene with Mangle and like her basically skirting off and all that, because like the editing was just ridiculous, dude. It was so bad. I don't know. I appreciate that Emma basically gave us the first movie, but my God, we need to evolve at this point. We need somebody who can actually do some kind of camera work with these robots. I do think that there's so many, especially with like practical animatronics, there are so many cool like angles and way you could position the camera to kind of give you the feel that they're menacing without having to go full rated R. But it just having them front and center every single time was just, the scary thing was just to have them right here in front of you. And
Yeah.
I understand in the video game it works that way, because understand POV in a video game is just this, right? You're just like this.
Yeah.
That's not us. We're watching the screen. We don't need to see them front and center every single time. We can use, and the best way to put it is the puppet thing, right? Like, I did like the way that they were moving the puppet, the way that the angles were kind of set for it, but it was the puppet that was doing all the work for the camera, and not the camera doing the work for the puppet.
Yeah,
If that
yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. So that was just something that I just was not enjoying, was the staleness of Emma Tammy. I want to know who the cinematographer for this movie was, but for the most part, it's under her direction, so it has to be mostly her. But what do you think about it?
I feel that. I mean, I do think we need better camera work. Like I said, there were some moments where the jump scares for the puppet was working, and other times you're right. It just didn't it lacked creativity,
Mm-hmm.
or she was just like, it was too creative. What the fuck? You seen that? No. Like that was crazy. Did you see that?
No, what happened?
You didn't see the eyes right there?
No, eyes popped up.
What the fuck?
I wasn't paying attention. Probably. I'll do it again. What did I do? Can I just?
Refresh.
Oh shoot! I guess when you look at Five Nights at Freddy's stuff,
I was like, what the fuck?
it's like, you talking shit.
We gotta wrap it up. No. But yeah, no, I feel that. I do agree. I think the cinematography has to change. Like, you're showing us all the robots being stiff as fuck. I think there's better ways to make them menacing. I do think the most creative they got was that whole dream sequence type deal. But even that's beginner shit, man. Like, we gotta elevate.
Yeah, I agree. The dream sequence was pretty cool. I did like that, that they did include Matthew Lillard in that one too, and the way that they kind of shot it was cool. Even the beginning too, when like she was walking out and like it was kind of blurry and everything, you kind of got her POV, but either which way still is like basic stuff that you were just like, hey man, we've seen this shit done so many times. Especially if, like I said, if you're getting a bigger budget to give us more animatronics and stuff like that, there should be a little bit more behind that at this point, right? I don't know.
You would think.
Yeah, but how many films has this girl done? Besides
I don't even
Freddy's.
know.
Oh, that's basically it. She did The Wind. I never heard of it. in these two movies.
Must have been the wind.
It must have been the wind directing it. That's crazy. But yeah, so
Okay.
and that was something I gotta say too, just to kind of jump back to like the whole lore part when it came down to the world building. I thought all this stuff was like supposedly like the security guard just needs to survive the nights in the pizzeria and stuff like that, and we just do not do that, right? In
That's
the
why.
first one
That's
you
what I'm
did,
saying.
but not in this one.
That's why in this one you would think like that's the thing. They're trying to make the stakes bigger and all that stuff by adding all this extra stuff. But that's what I'm saying. It wasn't until the ending when we get him in the actual room and that whole part where he's like, "Shh, there's no door this time," like, and he's sitting it. That's basically the setup. You're facing that door. The animatronics come through. You have to keep the lights on. You have to put the mask on when they show up. You have to take it off. Like that's the whole point of the second one. And like we only got that for a quarter. He was like that was all for us to just be like, whoa, whoa, it's right there, and then that's it.
That was basically it. The Leonardo DiCaprio meme.
Yeah. Like that's it. That was the
my kids did
basic
clock
stuff.
it. My kids did clock it. They were
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
they were like, oh, that's part of the game, and I was like, wow, it's for a cool 2 minutes. We just
Yeah. Yeah.
but I mean, yeah, Josh. I mean, if you want to kind of wrap up your end and give us your summary, and then we'll go ahead and give it the rating and wrap it up.
Did I understand what was happening? Yes. I like I like the lore. I like the characters. I like everything in it. I just wish it was a better movie. And I can't help but feel like if I go based off what I like and what I enjoy, I'm being disingenuous overall. So would I rewatch it? Sure. But I hate everything about it? Probably, yeah. So like as a movie, strictly as a film, like this movie does everything bad from A to Z. I'm not rocking with. I'm just saying the third one has to change. That's it. The third one needs to revamp. It needs to change. Springtrap has to be an actual menace. As a movie, this is a 3 out of 10. But as a fan who knows and what's going on and is seeing the setup, I'd give it like an 8. But as a movie, for the sake of the review, 3 out of 10.
I think that's lower than what you gave the first one. I think the
Yeah.
first one you gave it like a 6 or something like that.
Yeah,
So to you they kind of dropped down. Okay,
I would say.
kind of. You dropped it 3 points. I think they really dropped the ball with this one with you.
Yeah.
I could agree with you. I do think that as a film, too many stupid things happened. It was dumb. And I do remember my first review. I think I gave it like at least a 3 too. But this movie was just there was so much dumb stuff that made the movie keep going. Did I have some fun with some of the dumb stuff? Yeah, because it was just it was dumb. There was some glimpses of hope where they were like, okay, we're gonna give you something that's gonna really resonate with maybe like the older audience, but then they still opted to go down the route of like for the kids. Like this is for the kids at the end of the day. I don't like that this movie basically, literally by the end of it, I was like, man, this movie just solely lives to just basically set up the third part, and I don't rock with that. Like I do think like every single movie needs to stand alone on its own, and to be a good pillar to what you're gonna see next. And like I said, lore wise, it stands on its own. As a film, though, it does not stand on its own. It still needs to be carried by like, oh, the lore, though. The lore is there. The lore is like that. That's the same argument that I heard in the first one.
Yeah,
The
you
lore,
need
the lore,
outside
the lore.
knowledge.
We need to, and that's something that I don't have. I don't have the lore knowledge or anything like that. And I do appreciate them taking the time to basically flesh out what sets up the next film and what sets up a lot of these people's motivations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I give it like a 4.5. I do like that they listened a little bit. I do think that this is a little bit more of an improvement than the first one, because even though there wasn't as much stupid decisions in the first one, I do think that the first one relied super heavy on the lore too, and this one does as well. But they at least listened to us and gave us a little bit more kills, so I can appreciate that. I can appreciate some of the seriousness in some of these actors' tones when they were giving us the line deliveries and all that stuff. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
a silly movie wrapped up as a kid's horror movie is kind of, I don't know if that's the
Nonsense.
route that we need to go. I think we need to give it a little bit more seriousness to back up the deaths that happen and not let
Yeah.
somebody fall in some water and just refuse to get out of it. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. You running away from a character in one scene and then you're just able to rip its head off in the next one. How does that,
Crazy.
like,
Makes no sense. It's crazy.
Why are we doing this kind of stuff? So I do think that there is some improvements that need to happen with this film. With these upcoming ones, and it sounds like at first when I walked out, I was like, "Man, are we even going to see a third part?" It's breaking all kinds of records. We're going to see a third part.
Yeah, we're gonna see a third part. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
This one took like what, 2 years to put out. The other one came out in 23, around the end of the year. This one comes out in 25, so maybe we'll see the next one by 2027.
Yeah.
But I do think that we need to kind of.
We gotta
I'm
elevate
sorry,
a little
I'm
bit.
sorry, Emma, but you gots to go. You gots to go. You gots to. We need a different director, and not like Michael Bay or anything. We don't need explosions or nothing. We just need more like,
Someone more horror centric.
yeah, especially because this is like Blumhouse, right? Like, this is from
Yeah.
Blumhouse, so I would assume you guys got like a roster of like horror experts just waiting to want to take a crack at a movie like this. But I
Exactly. Yeah.
do think Emma's tone and the way that she kind of puts these characters front and center is like the perfect balance for children. But I do think if you want to capture the teenagers, and you got to think too, you got adults going with their kids to watch this movie, so you gotta want to give the adults and the older audience what they're asking for. You know, how do you find that perfect balance with a kid's game basically being adapted? I don't know. Maybe we're just not the demographic for these kinds of films. Maybe we're aging
Maybe.
out. I don't
Yeah.
know. But we got to do a little bit better than this. We got to do a little bit better.
They can try. They can try for sure.
Hopefully, FNAF 3, we get something better. But until then, we'll just have to wait. Josh, I mean, the rewatchability, is it there at least?
I would say. I think if I watch back to back, I'll be like, all right, I see the vision. But I'm still gonna think like this is a bad movie.
I think rewatchability of the first one is just not there for me. But I do think if my kids want to pop this one on, I probably will watch this one with them for sure.
Okay.
So maybe it's there. But with that being said, let us know what you guys think. If you watch the movie, go let us know your guys' thoughts. Obviously, if you haven't, go check it out. Then give us your thoughts. We want to know what you guys think. Are we just old? Are we just phasing out at this point? Is this not the demographic that they're looking for? Is this movie better than the first, worse than the first, equal to the first? I don't know. Let us know what you guys think. Josh, let them know where they could talk to us about topics, movies they want us to review, all that good stuff.
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at FilmBros Podcast. Post our episodes are up. You can hit us up there for news and movies you want us to cover. Bust out link in the social that I just gave you. It's like a Patreon. You subscribe, you help the show grow. Really appreciate it. Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. Be part of the conversation. Twitch at FilmBros Podcast. And so all said and done, subscribe to YouTube at FilmBros Podcast.
And with that being said, we'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Talk to you guys later.